Hello, everybody, and welcome to the finale of the Saga of the Clone Saga, also with my doorbell in the background. But this is the podcast where we, the students of S.H.I.E.L.D., read stuff related to clones in Spider-Man. And most of it was bad, but here we are. I'm Billy.
I'm Matt.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Vincent.
Billy, you have our sponsor today.
Yes, our sponsor is the concept of ending, because this is the end. There is no more after this, not any clones. This is it. This is
Well,
the end of the Saga of the Clone Saga,
For now.
never to be heard of again.
For now.
Until this summer when Marvel announces the next Spider-Verse over and we gotta read this shit again.
Spider-Geddon 2, Spider-Verse 3, Return of
No,
Spider-Man.
it's Spider-Geddon 2. It happened again?
That would be the tagline.
But also, quickly note that there will be one episode after this. Maybe a very short episode, maybe a very long episode. We're not sure yet, but it will be an epilogue kind of thing.
Yeah, we're going to talk about our thoughts, our experiences. We're going to offload a whole lot of emotions we've been bottling up. That's the entire journey. It can be a great time.
Vince might cry.
Someone might cry.
So today, in this final episode, kind of anticlimactically, we are talking about Spider-Geddon. And This is a 5-issue series, or actually a 6-issue series, which came out I don't know, what was it, this past summer or past winter?
I feel like
the winter.
Late summer into early fall.
Pretty recent.
Fun fact, I own all but the final issue of this series.
Why?
Miniseries.
Why?
Fun fact, why?
Because I saw Spider-Man Noir and my boy, and I was immediately interested, and then I was immediately disappointed.
Issue 1 then.
Yes.
So this is 6 issues. It started with a 0 issue, but the 0 issue does not take place first, which we'll get to. But the 0 issue, it's all focused on the video game Spider-Man, whatever the hell Earth that is.
Part of the Marvel Gamerverse.
I hate that so much. I can't
It's
believe
a thing now.
That's
What's
the logo
worse,
they're
the
putting
name
on
or the
both.
logo with a D-pad in it?
Both.
Wait, is it
Yes.
Gamerverse or Gameverse?
It's
No,
Gamerverse.
That's really stupid.
It is idiotic.
Wait,
and the
so
worst
what
part
else is?
It's not a Gamerverse. They have one game.
Yeah, exactly. What else is in it?
Well, we don't know
Nothing.
yet. We're gonna obviously Spider-Man, and then the other Marvel game in the works is that Avengers game from Square.
It's Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. That's also in it, I bet.
No, I refuse.
It's other Earth. Like that's the thing. Yeah, calling everything the Gamerverse doesn't make sense because they give an Earth title to the PS4 Spidey's Earth.
Yeah.
It is Earth 1048.
All right.
I pulled out
1048. That's my bedtime, in fact.
Oh my god.
He came prepared.
Why does my computer clock say 11:26?
Because you didn't set it back.
You don't do that with computers. So
hello, welcome back to the Saga of the Clone Saga, aka the Clone Stone. This is the show where we talk about daylight saving time.
So
and how it obviously doesn't follow it.
This story is scripted by Christos Gage and based on a story by Dan Slott. And I'll just tackle that. It's kind of sort of not really clear in the editorial, but I guess this was an idea that Slott had like a while ago, but he never got around to it. And right now, his Spider-Man run is done, and he's swamped with Fantastic Four and Iron Man. And in fact, both or one of those titles have had like tiny delays and stuff.
Fantastic
so he's juggling stuff. Well, and like the War of the Realms Iron Man is a fill-in.
Yeah.
So he's juggling, which I don't really. Maybe he has something going on or something, because I don't really understand that, because he used to do Amazing Spider-Man basically 18 times a year, and for long stretches he'd be juggling something else like Mighty Avengers or Silver Surfer or whatever. And now he has 2 monthly books, and so isn't it kind of a
I
lighter
would
work?
imagine Fantastic Four's delays are probably by Pacelli.
Well, yeah, you don't know if it's artist based.
I think they're definitely more art based, but I'm going to disagree with the fact that Dan Slott wanted to do this story for a while, because the way this reads is, oh, we got that movie coming out.
Well,
Dan, whip up a
See,
tie-in.
that's totally
100%.
what it was. You can tell, especially by the
Yeah.
focus they put on Miles, that's exactly what it was. Which I
Oh,
mean,
for
I'm
sure.
not knocking Miles. He's a good Spider-Man, I guess, if you can call any of them good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's clear that this was just a cash grab for the movie.
well,
It
It's
is.
the same
It
story
is.
all over again.
It is, but I also 100% believe that Dan Slott already had some general idea for his cash grab sequel to Spider-Verse.
Well, this
yeah,
would be the third or fourth time he's done this then? This same concept?
yeah. But I think Matt has the idea. Like that's how they spin it, and I think that's probably the truth. Where maybe he had like a page where it's like, hey,
Hmm
we should do a sequel to Spider-Verse, and here's the basic stuff, like some of the inheritors set up, and maybe probably a lot of the auto involvement was probably on Slott's cards.
I think all the new you stuff is entirely Slott. I don't think Christos Gage sat down and thought, "Ooh, let's tie this intricately into clone conspiracy." That's all. That's all Slott.
But yeah,
It's not a big stretch to just like put the new you stuff in there. It's not like groundbreaking or pulling from anything that's like decades old.
but so Gage got the gig since Slott is busy, and obviously they definitely did fast track this with the movie and the games. The game's out already, and the movie's coming out right after this.
Although they
So
do spoil they spoil that Doc Ock becomes the villain in the game. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's Otto Octavius.
Was there any?
hey, but I mean we also see that there are 2 other good Doc Ocks in this series. So
We're gonna use one of those goods with an air quote.
okay, no,
So
Yeah, nah.
this series
Okay.
is supposed to be drawn by Jorge Molina, and he draws this first issue completely. And so we open with Miles fighting some losers, and I didn't bother to pull up the wiki while reading these.
Vulture
Matt,
knockoff.
What are these?
These
Am I
are the
supposed to know?
Volturions. They are a Voltron. I've never heard of them. I don't know.
Okay. I feel like I have like a vague memory that I should know what they are.
My guess
Um,
is that they're and I could be totally off base. My guess is they're either a late '90s or a Brand New Day era villain where no one gives a heck. No one gives a heck.
Can we talk about the cover though before we get too deep into this? Because
Okay.
I want to say I like this cover. I got the second printing, so it's not as cool. The other printing has an explosion going on in the background, but this is just plain white.
Missed out
But
on that.
yeah, no, but I really do like this cover. I like
I think
all the
all the
spider
covers
people
from the
coming together.
series are good.
Yeah, I don't like that 2 of the people on this cover aren't in the book at all. This little guy right here, this adorable little motherfucker, he's not in it at all. And
So the
Spider-Man
student
2099 actually isn't in it either.
No, Spider-Man
the-
2099 is in one panel at the very end.
is the spider is Hawkeye's daughter from Old Man Logan in this at all?
I don't remember her being in it.
She's
Wait,
on the
who?
cover, and I
But
don't
she's-
remember seeing her at all either.
Wait, which one?
Spider-Bitch.
Hawkeye's daughter from Old Man Logan.
Oh no, she is at the very end when Gwen and Pete show up. She's on that splash page
Okay.
panel for again because isn't her name Ashley?
Her name is
Yeah.
Ashley Barton, the Spider-Bitch.
Yeah, someone like calls out.
That's not her actual name.
Yes,
fact,
it is.
She gets a name drop. I forget who. Maybe it's either Miles. I think it's Miles. When Gwen and Pete show up, he like yells out, or I think it might be Jessica Drew. Someone yells out like 3 characters' names, and it's like Ashley and like Spider Kid. I don't. It doesn't matter. Yeah, these are the Vulturians. I mean, the covers are all right. Like, it's basically the concept of these like Spider-Verse and Spider-Geddon covers is just stack as many people as you can on the cover and
Profit.
make it look photoshopped.
I mean,
All
yeah,
right.
but you could easily do that and still end up with a bad result.
Yeah,
I think they did it well.
I agree with Billy. I think this is a really cool looking cover. Like I love how Pete looks on this cover. He looks great.
Yeah, he's not in the book though.
What?
He's not in the book though.
No, he's not in the book, but he looks really
Which I'm happy
good.
he's not, because this would then like throw a whole wrench into Spencer's run, which is going alongside at this point.
Yes, I am so relieved that Peter Parker does not show up in this book and that he has like a 2-issue tie-in over there.
All right. So I did look up the Vulturians. Matt, you were a little off. The Vulturians debuted as the opening 3-issue arc of Web of Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm not a little off. I'm completely off. Really?
Yeah,
Completely
1985. Created by Louise Simonson and Greg LaRocque. And then they showed back up.
I like Greg LaRocque and Louis Simonson.
They showed back up around Civil War in the Initiative, and then again in Civil War 2 with the tie-in Amazing Spider-Man miniseries.
They look like someone who would be part of the Initiative.
So not very important. 7 total appearances. Well, they're fighting the Initiative. But yeah, we open this issue with Miles fighting them and making them look like a joke. He gambles with a gun, and it's just like 3 pages. Here is Miles Morales.
Can I ask why Spider UK in this looks like a giant Hulk monster?
He is huge.
Yeah, Super Soldier Serum.
He's just husky. A portal opens, and UK, Ham, Spider-Gwen, Mayday, and Spider-Punk show up. Also, Spider-Man Noir, who he's redesigned for this, right?
He's not wearing like the full jacket. Like he has like a vest now, and then like a sweater on under it.
I mean, I think that it's
he's
the same
always
outfit.
dressed like that.
Yeah, he just doesn't have his jacket.
He's had it coat sometimes though.
Yeah, I think he usually has his jacket. I think the difference that in this story, he's not wearing it for whatever reason.
He also sometimes wears a fedora, which I like.
A brown or a bronzish color. He's like black and gray here.
And then we have Octavia Otto, who I believe first appearance here.
No, he does not. Octavia Otto first appears in Web Warriors.
Oh, shit.
Which I read and own almost every issue of.
Then, do you remember that apparently she was a member of the Young Avengers on some Earth?
I don't remember that. No, I don't remember anything about her.
Can we talk about how Count Nefarious shows up? And man, talk about a villain who isn't used at all anymore and has kind of been reduced to a joke.
Yeah, Count Nefarious is awesome.
He was. And now he's
you
just
use the word awesome lightly. The coolest thing Count Nefarious has ever done is kill Thunderbird. Come on.
No, he's the first villain the West Coast Avengers fight.
Okay, sure.
So he's in San Francisco because he apparently has taken over Southern California, or is.
Well, he shows up in Fraction Hawkeye. He's out there too,
and he's moving north. And Superior Octopus in the post Secret Empire whatever costume.
This is stupid.
The thing is, I kind of like this design.
Yeah.
Two Spider-Man, not enough Octopus.
They're fighting in San Francisco, and Otto trash talks Daredevil and Spider-Woman, who both spent time in San Francisco, and he claims we're not effective at protecting the city. And Nefaria tries to make a big ultimatum, but then just gets it reversed on him. And because Otto threatens to murder his family remotely with octopus bots, Octobots. And so Nefaria fucks off.
And that was the only good part of the story. I enjoyed this little battle here, and their little back and forth where he's like, "Oh, so you're really a villain? I see what you're doing." You know, like that whole thing. That was fun. After this, I'm done.
Yep, then the rest of everything just goes downhill.
So Otto has combined Jackal and Inheritor tech to master cloning. And so the spiders break into his lab, and Karn, the inheritor, who's now the master weaver or whatever, he said the cloning tubes will somehow allow the inheritors to get back through off of the radiation world and jump out of these tubes. And it's never like fully explained like why the fuck that's a thing, in my opinion. And so for like the next few pages, like from my perspective, I'm just like, all right, all these other spider characters are just being assholes and attacking Otto.
Yeah.
Real quick, do we want to talk about the die is cast thing now?
I guess.
Because Otto says it right during this fight, and I think he says it again at the end of this issue, and then at least once, usually more than once, in every single issue after this. And oh my god, it's obnoxious.
Yeah, and I forget who it was, but someone calls him out, and he's like, "You need a better catchphrase or something."
Yeah, but lampshading it doesn't make it any better. It's still totally annoying.
See, the thing is, I don't know how, but for me, it didn't actually stand out until they called it out. And
Yeah.
then,
Really?
I don't really remember like it standing out.
It was annoying me the entire time.
But it turns out Karn and the other spiders, they're right. And so all of the fucking or Morlun pops out and immediately kills Spider-Man Noir, which I'm sure Billy enjoyed.
No, actually, it made me really mad, and I ended up not reading the rest of the issues until we recorded this.
Yeah, but you
But-
still got them.
But you know what? I have a feeling they're gonna bring him back. Because recently there was a movie and he was in it, and in that movie he could shoot webs. But this Spider-Man Noir can't shoot webs. So if you kill him off and bring in a new
Well, no,
one,
Spider-Man Noir can't shoot webs, but it just kind of like goes everywhere.
Yeah, he doesn't have accuracy with his webs, so like
It's such
wouldn't make
primitive
sense to
technology
do it.
that just kind of is a giant, like, basically just silly string.
Also, worth noting, Morlun doesn't technically kill him, he kills himself.
Yeah.
He decides to blow himself up with a grenade, but then Morlun still eats him anyways, so like...
Also, though, going back to Spider-Man Noir, at least we're finally getting a complete collection getting put out, because that all of that stuff's been out of print for years.
yeah,
I've
I
been
can't
wanting
wait
it
to
for a
read it.
while.
I'm so excited to actually, because clearly I didn't know that about Spider-Man Noir. I've never read it. I'm excited to experience that story.
The only way I got to read it is for some reason my high school had it in their library.
Weird.
I think it's
okay.
very good.
No, it's really good. I like it. I never read the sequel. I only read the first one, though.
So then other idiots show up, and Otto is not a totem, and I don't know how that works.
Well,
Because
he's not really a spider now because he's not.
no, but he's in a clone body of Peter Parker, just like Kane and Ben.
I think it has to do with like soul shit, though.
So how are Kane and Ben?
Well,
Literally,
'cause-
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't
it
matter. None of
doesn't
it
matter,
matters.
but like...
They wanted him to be immune, so they made him immune. That's fucking the whole totem thing never made sense. It didn't make sense when JMS brought it up. It makes less sense now.
But Otto, the
We're
current
5 minutes. We're 5 minutes into the recording. I'm already upset.
the current version
God.
of Otto, does he not have spider powers?
He does,
He does, yeah.
Okay,
but he's in a clone body
yeah,
of
just
Peter
like
Parker. He's Otto Octavius, who is actually an octopus totem. No.
You just
would
gave
be-
me ideas now.
I wish someone had said he was an octopus totem. I wish that had come up because that would have been awful.
You know what else is going to come
That
up?
would have been awful,
Whole
but
series.
hilarious.
Once again, what was my big complaint about the first Spider-Verse? It's just a bunch of people sitting around talking and pointing fingers at each other. Get ready, because it's going to be more of that.
Yep.
yeah, and lots of we also said before, it's run here and then run away from them and then run back to them and run away.
And all the action will happen in all these 2-issue miniseries that you have to buy.
So the new Inheritors plan is to conquer Earth 616 and make it their new homeworld.
Cool, they can have it.
And that's the first issue. Meanwhile, Morlun goes off to Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man for a 3-issue tie-in and sequel to, or they argue a sequel to the Coming Home arc from JMS, which originally introduced Morlun.
He also just leaves between issues. He just kind of goes, "All right, guys, catch you later," and walks off. I guess I have to assume because if the second issue starts and he's gone, and it's like, well, now he's fighting Spider-Man. Go read that issue.
So number 2, all the spiders are going to blow up the lab, and Gwen almost dies, but not really because Gwenom, she has a symbiote now.
Yeah, how the fuck does that work, by the way?
Which
What?
part? As it relates to the totem, or
So she just has a symbiote?
yeah,
Yeah.
she in her book she lost
She
her
didn't had a
powers.
symbiote.
Okay, whatever. I don't
Yeah,
care.
it's a whole thing. Read Spider
I
Gwen
don't
or
like-
don't.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I don't.
don't.
Like Spider-Gwen.
Don't read Spider-Gwen. It's
I
very
like
not
Spider
great.
Gwen. I
It-
liked it.
Art's pretty. That's all I'm gonna say about that book.
Yeah.
It didn't exist. Is the truth.
But actually, she does die because the building explodes and she doesn't get out. And Miles freaks the hell out. Meanwhile, everyone around him realizes that last time in Spider-Verse, a whole bunch of spiders died. And, we can't spend 10 minutes crying about one.
We can't. They spend more time thinking Gwen died and mourning over her than Spider UK or Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, no,
Spider-Man Noir
not
gets
they.
nothing.
Don't say they. It's Miles because Bendis had a shitty crossover, which they
Yeah.
lightly
Hey.
step around, but don't.
Are they dating? Are Miles and Gwen together still?
I don't know how.
I hope not.
No. It's kind of implied that Gwen is like fucking Spider-Punk.
Spider-Punk.
Wait, what?
Well,
Yeah,
not really.
Apparently they have a band, but there's like some
Uh,
chemistry there. Like
I
weird
missed that
chemistry.
entirely.
They're both in a
Okay.
band.
That's weird.
Ah,
Well, was Gwen in Web Warriors
Yes. No. Yes. Yes, she was.
and was Punk?
yes or no?
Oof. I don't think Punk was.
Okay. So all of the inheritors are back except for Big Daddy Solace, but they're working on that. They have to get the special crystal, and their priority is to redevelop their cloning technology. Because if they die now, they're fucked. So they want to get cloning so that they can die again. And they imply all this Jackal stuff, and I know they're kind of might be referring more to Ben Reilly, but I was really hoping that Jackal would show up, if just to make it a little bit more fun and also more relevant to the show. But the Jackal proper doesn't show up at all. And on that same note, and I think I knew that because our last episode or whatever, or when we finished Clone Conspiracy, I think we established that Jackal hasn't shown up. The real Jackal hasn't shown up since Clone Conspiracy.
Oh God, he's gonna show up and hunt it, isn't he?
So he's due for a story. I mean, the Jackal is an animal.
It
where
just
is
would
he?
have been a real blessing if we got little Jack here as one of the spider totems, but alas,
He
no such
should
luck.
be. There's no reason for him not to be.
Well, there's no reason for Otto. So
Right. There's more reason for Jack to be here than for Otto to be here. You're right.
So they go to Loom World, and it's messed up because the Web Warriors have been dismantling it. I don't know how they do this, but they take parts of it and take them back to their home dimensions. And the thing is, Otto asks about this. He's like, "Why is everything fucked up?" But it refers with kind of a retroactive footnote that the explanation for this is in his tie-in. And I don't think the continuity really makes sense, the way they do the footnote and everything.
I don't
But
know.
there is a Superior Spider-Man one-shot which ties into this.
I mean, it's
Which
not
I almost-
Loom World is not in a great place after the first Spider-Verse anyway, though.
Well, yeah. And first of all, I almost bought that Superior Spider-Man one-shot for some reason because I was like, whenever I see a one-shot, when Marvel or DC announce a one-shot, it makes me very nervous because I can never trust that they'll collect it in a certain way, and I don't know if the story is going to be good.
It's Spider-Geddon. Why do you care
Everything
if it's gonna
getting
be
collected.
collected? Why do
Um,
you care?
but I passed on it because I was like, yeah, why do I care? And
Yeah.
also, it was probably like $5.
Probably.
And then, I mean, back to Loomworld and everything, and we debated this a ton when like Kane was fighting. I don't remember when, but I still don't entirely understand like how Otto's memory works in reference to Spider-Verse because of the whole like going back to pre-Spider-Verse and the timeline and shit
He
like that.
remembers it. This
Getting memories written.
this Otto remembers it
Okay.
because this Otto did not experience the end of Superior.
That doesn't make any sense. All right.
What?
No, okay. Listen. Here's Otto's timeline. He traveled into the future for the 2099 crossover. And while he was there, he got involved in Spider-Verse. At the end of Spider-Verse, he made a copy of his brain. That copy came back to the present after he with Peter Parker. So this Otto Octavius missed everything from the end of the 29 crossover through Goblin Nation.
Congratulations, you found something more hard to understand than Brexit.
But like, okay, but I guess he knows about all that stuff, obviously.
Yes. He knows it happened, but he can't believe that he would. He didn't have those same experiences, and so he was not reformed the way he was at the end of Superior Spider-Man.
Okay, but question.
So Dan Slott can have his cake and eat it too.
Important question, though.
Yeah.
Did Spider-Man UK support the Brexit?
I'm going to be honest. I saw like 3 Brexit flowcharts today to try to help me understand it, and I looked at like 2 of them, and I got a headache immediately.
I would say yes. I would say the Braddock family, traditionalists, they have kind of connections to Camelot and all that shit. I would put them more closer to, not necessarily this word in the usual dirty way, but I'd put them closer to like English nationalists than like Eurosphere kind of people.
Black Knight would definitely be for it.
Yeah, Black Knight for sure would definitely be pro-Brexit.
What about Union Jack?
I don't know. You should ask. I don't know. I couldn't fit it in, but Union Jack is dead.
Union Jack, he's not real, Vince.
Union Jack is dead because Captain America killed him. Remember? Threw him out of a plane.
You should
That
ask
was
Grant Morrison.
that was Jack Flag.
Oh yeah. Okay. So back to the story. Miles wants to grab some experienced characters, aka the ones people actually care about, including the real Peter Parker, Jessica Drew, and Anya Corzone.
But Otto says, no, I'm the main character. You're not allowed to do that.
Yes. And Otto says, we got to kill these bastards this time.
Which, once again, he's right. They should have done this the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, they consult with Karn, and Karn's like, I don't really know, so just work against each other and both do what you want to do.
So stupid.
And it turns out his sister's right behind him, and so Karn is dead. And she knows the plan, but they didn't really establish a plan.
And Otto's plan is get Spider-Man Japan.
Yeah,
which is a good plan. He had a giant robot.
Yeah, it was a really good plan. And he's like, this giant robot that has this sword destroys everything in one hit.
Yeah.
Miles goes after Pete and other characters.
He also goes after Spider-Man PS4.
Punk dips into Edge of Spider-Geddon, which is already out. It's bad planning. And the no names do similar stuff. They go to other Edge of Spider-Geddon issues to find other no names.
I don't mean to be splitting hairs, but Edge of Spider-Geddon implies it happens before Spider-Geddon, not in the middle of Spider-Geddon number 2. What the hell?
It doesn't matter. It's got Spider-Man on it. It'll sell.
But actually, the first priority for Otto is that he needs new clothes because apparently I didn't really necessarily see it in the art, but apparently he got like a little rip on his costume, and
I
so he
didn't notice.
decides to put on the Superior Spider-Man suit because
Purely so he's in a Spider-Man costume, so the story's more marketable, so they can be like, look, Superior Spider-Man, you like that.
Yep.
yeah, he's role playing, and it's a very easy, quick way to switch the status quo. He recruits Kane very quickly.
Yeah, real quick, I want to talk about this scene. I don't remember, is this the first time the two of them have had like an intimate moment since Kane broke Otto's neck?
No,
so.
because you missed an episode. There's a crossover between Superior Spider-Man Team Up and Scarlet Spider.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I
called
read that.
Civic.
I was on that episode.
Does that handle the whole neck breaking thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It's not, they don't really like, they're not friendly at the end of that. Obviously, I don't remember precisely if they interacted a ton during Spider-Verse,
I
but
don't
at this
think they
point,
did.
They
it's just
didn't.
like at this point, both of them, have gone through character arcs and status quo, and it's just like, all right, I'm down, even though I fucking hate you.
What it basically boils down to is like, okay, you said inheritors, yeah, let's just kill these guys right now. Let's do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kane is appearing as a supporting character in Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider at this point, unless it was already canceled. And so Ben just kind of hitches on and jumps through the portal as well.
Can we talk about the whole stupidity of there being two teams that one want to kill the inheritors, and two, how much of a child Miles is being like, no, we can't kill him. I was like, if you don't, the same thing is going to keep happening clearly.
Well, I don't even think Miles ever has the full moment where he actually argues his perspective.
Yeah,
He's
they don't
just like,
explain.
Just doesn't want to
They
kill
don't explain what the plan is. They're just like, we're just not going to kill them, but what we're gonna do with them is totally up in the air.
There is literally no plan. Not even Otto has a plan, and his entire point throughout the entire story is we need a plan, but he doesn't make one.
Well, his plan's to kill him. He doesn't know how,
Right.
but that's the
That's
plan.
not a
Like that's
plan.
the end goal of the plan.
yeah.
I don't know. Like
So
normally, when it comes to superheroes killing people, I prefer not. But like when it's these villains that are just like these omnipotent, powerful forces, yeah, go and kill them so you don't have to deal with this shit anymore. That and like I don't like these stories, so yeah, kill them, please.
Well, and it's real convenient that the story never bothers to approach the idea that like is banishing them to a radioactive world really better than killing them?
No, because it literally does kill them. Like
Yeah.
that's the
Right.
thing. The
You're gonna
radiation
make them
slowly kills them. It's arguably worse than if they just killed them right away.
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird. Whatever.
so I already said it, but Varnick kills Karn, and specifically because somehow he's a spider totem once you become the Master Weaver.
Because
Yeah,
totems
I don't
don't
know.
matter. It's so stupid.
And end of issue 2, big reveal: Gwen is still alive. Because she has an ongoing series and is a popular character. Number 3, not drawn by Jorge Molina. We have Carlo Barberi and Todd Knock somehow splitting up duties.
How do you not have an artist, like a single artist, for 5 issues? Like,
Well, it gets worse.
yeah,
Issue 0 happens between 2 and 3,
yeah.
and
Because that makes sense.
I didn't read it. I don't think we really
It probably
needed
got
to or anything,
moved
but
around. Honestly, it probably got moved around because the PS4 game came out and they wanted something coming out like that week or relatively close for them to be like, tie-in.
You're probably right. I have not finished the Spider-Man PS4 game yet, though, so I didn't want to read that issue anyway.
See, Matt, if you don't want to finish the game, you can just buy Spider-Man: City of Crime #1 and just get all the story without the fun gameplay.
If you want to read the video game, go buy
Okay,
that
well
book.
I can tell you what happens in the 0 issue if you need to
Well, I
know.
flipped through it. It pretty much was just like Otto finds Spidey PS4
Yes.
and then they team up.
Otto shows up to Spidey PS4. He's like, hey, this shit's going down. We need you. Spider PS4 is like, okay, but I'm gonna do this shit first. And so they fight Tarantula, and it's underwhelming. And then he says goodbye to MJ in case he never comes back. He says to Miles, hey, if I never come back, you're Spider-Man. And that's pretty much it.
Cool.
So then Otto recruits Lepardon. Miles recruits Spider India, who he needs because he's a genius, but just like almost every other Peter Parker. And I just had this random idea. It would be funny if Spider-Man India is not from a different dimension, but it's just in India. But India's so big and he's always occupied and it's so far away that no one really like acknowledges him. And also, on the same note, the fact that India is so far away from New York and is such a huge country and everything, Spider-Man India existing in the 616, from my like totally biased perspective, works better than Miles Morales being in the 616. I would prefer
knew
that.
you were going there. God damn
Man,
it.
would you survive a day in India?
No, certainly not. And then the Renew Your Vows family shows up. Their book is probably canceled at this point.
Yeah, and they're here with Spider-Ben and Petey. Do any of you know who they are?
No, and
No,
I don't like.
Um,
I don't like them
But
at
I've
all.
seen their new.
they are new, but it's from alternate universe where Ben does not die. He gets bit, and I think Petey also gets bit. I don't know, but that's basically the story. That's all
I
you
really
know.
hope instead of it gets bit, like Petey gets hit by a car and it's like blood transfusion.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a tie-in for them, but I was like, that's so dumb. I do not want to read it.
My favorite
Good
thing in
call.
comics. Get Spider-Man's blood somehow.
Penny Parker Spider shows up, and Silk is here.
Is this her first appearance?
No.
No, Penny. No. The thing is, so she was in a time. She was in one of the Edge issues or
Edge of
whatever.
Okay.
Spider-Verse number 4. I don't
But
know.
I don't remember. Was she actually in Spider-Verse proper, or was she one of the characters that only showed up in Edge? I think it
I
may
don't
have been
remember
that.
the regular
I
actual
honestly-
Spider-Verse book.
I think he was only in Edge. I don't remember her
And-
showing up in the main book.
I
And
hate
she
her
there-
name.
did.
There were so many Spider people in that book. He could have been in it.
/ DR. I hate it.
You can blame Gerard Way for that, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, as everyone else has shown up, Miles is just spilling excuses for why they can't grab Peter, who is staying in his tie-in.
They can't grab him because he's in a good book for once. Damn it!
I mean, maybe I didn't read it, but and then Mayday,
No, he
Anya,
means amazing. He means amazing, not the tie-in.
yeah, Mayday, Anya, and Annie Mae are in their own tie-in doing research, and it's called Spider Girls because I don't know, they need some kind of dumb theme to tie in these series.
First Spider-Verse too, I think. Or was there not? I can't remember.
It wasn't called Spider. It wasn't called Spider Girls.
There was one for all the clones. I remember that, but yeah.
So it seems kind of odd that Annie Mae would not stick with her parents, but whatever. And Otto shows up with some recruits. He has Spider's Man,
I
which is
hate this.
a Spider-Man made out of spiders.
I
Which
only
I feel
hate
like
this. No, I like it, but the minute I saw this, like back when it first came out, I was like, "Oh, this is fun," and the internet's gonna ruin it in 5 minutes, and they did.
It is fun though.
It's
it
fine.
seems like a concept that would have already existed.
It kind of does. It's the 1,000. Do any of you know
It's like
No.
slightly ringing a bell. Fill us in.
Spider-Man's Tangled Web began with a story about the 1,000, where Peter Parker, there was a high school, there was a different bully, Flash Thompson, who radioactive spider. And then he saw Spider-Man and he put two and two together. And so what he did is he went back to the lab and found the dead body of the radioactive spider and ate it. And then he turned into thousands of sentient spiders that ate his parents and would wear skin as like a husk. And he walked around like that. And then Spider-Man fought him.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So Spider-Man is not original.
No.
The other thing is, like, as this was coming out and stuff, like, very briefly checking in on Reddit every once in a while, I felt like there was like a big tragic moment with Spider-Man, but I must have
I
gotten
can't
that
remember what it
mixed up.
was.
But obviously that doesn't happen in this.
Did you like seeing the Lone Ranger? I mean, Web Slinger show up?
Web Slinger's awesome. Shut up.
Yeah, he's cool.
It'd be cooler if he just wasn't a rip-off of the Lone Ranger.
Okay,
He has a
but
horse.
I do like Norman Spider-Man.
Really?
I like his design.
I don't
No,
like his design at all.
his design's very bad, and he's bad.
I like it.
His
He's-
sole purpose of the device in the story is, it's the Norman Osborn one. I wonder when he's going to turn into a bad guy.
Yeah, and it's entirely predictable, and he's a boring villain, but I like.
Yeah,
I'm a
I don't
sucker
like
for. I'm
his
a
design at
sucker
all.
for.
I think he looks terrible.
Sorry,
I think he looks terrible.
I'm a sucker for Spider-Man with 6 arms. My favorite part of the first Spider-Verse story was the tie-in with 6-armed Spider-Man.
So the
Now, if
best
you
part
don't
of
buy that toy,
I think I'm
the
going
best part
to.
of the
I'm
Norman
really tempted
introduction,
to.
the best part of the Norman introduction for me is when Otto leans over and says, "Remember, I'm the master planner," and it's all in bold.
Yeah.
That's the best part. And then Kane's team is in Spider Force, preventing the crystal from passing along. And so basically,
by
all
the
the
way,
title.
real quick, I don't mean to keep interrupting, but I'm going to anyway. I went to a comic book shop today, and I saw Spider Force on the shelf. And do you realize that the title for that book does not have the word spider in it? It's a picture and then hyphen force.
Do you realize that that store probably had to buy that book in order to get shipments of something that they actually wanted to sell and had to eat dead sales on?
Probably.
So the weird thing about Spider Force is that it's written by Christopher Priest for some reason.
Well,
Fuck, why?
well, as we saw last week, Vince, with Detective 1000, just Priest's name being there doesn't mean it's going to be a good story.
Yeah, that's true. And so the fact that I saw it was Christopher Priest and it was Kane, I read the first issue of Spider Force when it came out, and honestly, it like half actually was unintelligible, and half was just really boring. Which I guess is what you get when Christopher Priest is not on his A game. That's a pretty good descriptor of that. But it's like Kane, Spider Woman. I think maybe Ashley Barton and someone else. It's not good. And basically, skip ahead a little bit, it seems like all the tie-ins, like the missions that these people go on for the tie-ins, it seems like all of them fail, sort of,
Mhm.
except for Peter Parker,
Yep.
who is
It
by
sure seems
himself
like
fighting one. And yeah, so there's a little bit of crossover between the squads. That's the other thing, is because Kane was recruited by Otto, but like all the people he's with were recruited by Miles. So it's really just Otto and Miles who are butting heads. Everyone else is like, here's a job, which to me feels like they split them up on the teams and then figured out who fit in the Force tie-ins. Like Spider Girls, we need all the girls. And then Ben finally crashes on Otto, so at least he's actually here. And Otto's trying to figure shit out, and Miles is antsy and charges ahead. And he almost wins the whole thing by blowing up labs and crap, but a fight starts basically because Miles hesitated.
Oh wait, action in this book is happening now. Yay!
Miles hesitated to explain what he's about to do. He says, I'm about to press this trigger and we all have to run. And if he had just pressed the trigger and started running, everything would be good. But then, like, Penny Parker is able to activate the detonator, but they're probably all going to die. But I guess the bombs were destroyed off panel or something. Honestly, I was a little confused in this segment.
I don't know. I don't know
And
because apparently, yeah, like you said, the bombs were deactivated, but Penny could blow it up, and then Auto crashes in, and then they can't blow it up anymore. So who knows?
yeah, Punk shows up with reinforcements, and Ben and Otto work together to shut stuff down. And then everyone runs away. Or no, Ben and Otto run away, and they're like, it seems like they're betraying everyone. And Norman and Spider's Man are scheming fucks.
Could they have at least waited an issue before the Norman goes bad?
Issue 4, it's Molina's back, but he's still helped by Carlo Barberi. And something happened like between these issues because Jessica Drew like falls right in front of the Inheritors with the crystal.
Yep.
And clearly something happened in a tie-in, and it's not even footnoted. And we're just missing like a major part of the
Yes,
plot.
it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is?
In Spider Force.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's footnoted, but like this is a pretty crucial
Well, you
part
just
of
said
the
it
plot.
wasn't footnoted, so make up your
Okay.
mind, Vincent.
Correction, but still, it's crucial.
Now,
And
Billy, you don't get to do that very often, so you laud that over him.
so Spider Force was a failure, and Solace is back. And back on not Loom World, but like the Sanctuary World, there's the random people in this shitty world made a Captain Universe statue. And this is like we talk about how these these stories, a lot of them is just people just wasting time talking to each other, but it's always about the plot and stupid shit. And so for like 2 pages or like 1 page in this issue, we get like a few very quick actual character moments where the Peter Parker of the Renew Your Vows universe tells like the fucking video game version that if his Mary Jane is anything like mine, don't let her get away. And it's like, it's another, twist of the needle, which granted, the Spencer run is somehow running alongside this. So it's not as huge a deal at this exact moment. If this was published like a year before, it would be a lot more agonizing. But it's like the whole point of Renew Your Vows is here's kind of like a proper version of Spider-Man. It's the same exact concept of MC2 and Mayday, and he stays with MJ. And then the game guy talks to Miles and is just like, hey, I know Miles too. And he doesn't get to be quite as cool as you. He doesn't get to be quite as cool as you in my game, but I'll remember what your costume looks like and make it for him. Even though, does he have powers or something?
Yeah, he gets them at the end of the game.
Oh, he gets to get something in the game.
And then Norman, out of nowhere, after scheming behind the scenes last issue, he starts trying to make some calls, and Otto shuts him up, and everyone backs Otto. And Ben makes a stabbed in the back joke in reference to Norman Osborn, which is like it's worth a half laugh.
Oh, I didn't even get it.
I didn't either.
It's kind of clever. And then Norman and Spiders, they bounce up to some stupid shit. So Miles goes to recruit more people because I guess Miles is not as smart. Can't help with the smart stuff. And Otto, he's planning, and basically this status quo now where Miles is recruiting people and Otto is planning, this is literally exactly where we were at the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
And Norman is going to destroy the web of life and destiny, which will trap everyone on Earth 616, including all the spiders, the inheritors. And
Good. Do that, and then just call in the Avengers.
Otto and Ben
Fight for 2 minutes.
Otto and Ben dip to go kill the inheritors, but Otto betrays Ben and hands him over to spare the 616.
Okay, hold on though. I do want to talk about. Can people who aren't spider totems hurt the inheritors? Because if they can, why are they recruiting more spider totems to just feed these people?
See, this is the problem. What I said, I shouldn't have said that because that's not how comics work. But I'm just gonna say, if they had a Hulk of the immortal variety,
Then Solus wouldn't stand a chance.
no, nothing stands a chance.
No,
Hulk,
not even.
Hulk would destroy that boy.
Also,
even-
there's an alternate universe Spider-Man that's literally just a giant fucking T-Rex. So like,
Yeah, but they don't get
why did they recruit him first? He's a T-Rex.
No, but even back to the Hulk. So they're going to all these different worlds and recruiting Spider-Man. They could go to all the different worlds and recruit multiple Hulks.
That's true.
They could go grab
Yes.
multiple Thors.
That sounds
Well,
like a
except for that
terrible
one-
idea.
That was Bruce Banner for some reason.
Wait, I kind of want a Hulk-verse story now, because that would just be a complete shit show.
So
It would-
there are.
That leads to, right? That leads to Hulk Core, and then we get different colored Hulks, and then we get to buy rings for each colored Hulk.
Dude, we already had different colored Hulks,
Yeah, but we don't have enough to make a rainbow yet, do we, Vince?
We got like 3.
but there was a Captain America Core miniseries and a Thor Core miniseries.
Don't forget Deadpool Core,
I would
Yeah.
like to.
drawn by Rob.
And the end of this 4th issue, Miles contacts the Enigma Force, which is the cosmic entity which creates Captain Universes. Now, issue 5, the final issue. I have a ton of more notes for this stuff, so I guess things actually happen, sort of.
Well, hold on. Before we get into it, as Norman predictably betrays everybody and blows up the web, Spider-Man spreads himself across the entire multiverse. So now, one part of Spider-Man is in every single version of Earth that the web had access to. So there's a huge chance that if somebody down the line wants to, they can just make a Spider-Man book in any universe they want to.
Well, the other thing, and this would be a very weird concept, is what if all the spiders from Spider-Man can turn people into Spider-Man? If they're
yes.
radioactive spiders, so now each Earth has the potential to have one extra Spider-Man.
And then we write a story called Spider-Island 2, Spider-Geddon 2, Spider-Verse 4, The Return of Jafar.
Spider Island 2, Electric Spider Lou.
So this 5th cover, it's Captain Universe versus Solace. I think it's actually a decent cover. The problem is, what's great is in the final issue of your big crossover event, you change the entire trade dress. Which, granted, I don't want to bitch about this too much because it's a tribute to Stan Lee.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird where it's like, all right, here's the finale of this event, which we're throwing all this marketing behind, and let's make it almost unrecognizable. And speaking of unrecognizable and trash, there are 5 pencilers and 4 inkers on this issue.
Oh God.
And
I
there
didn't notice that before, but that's kind of disgusting.
are definitely a few pages and panels where you can totally tell.
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
There's some backgrounds missing and some stuff, and oddly, some of the big splash page panels and moments where you have a ton of characters. Well, it makes sense, but those are the worst looking things in this issue.
Mm-hmm.
And so this issue opens with Miles arguing with the Enigma Force. And honestly, this is my least favorite part of this entire story, because Spider-Geddon entirely misrepresents the Enigma Force and Captain Universe.
Yep.
where the Enigma Force is arguing and Miles is arguing with it like, oh, none of you are worthy, or you're not worthy of being Captain Universe, where that's not the point of Captain Universe at all. Like, all these spiders are like, oh, someone died on my watch, or I fucked up. The whole point of Captain Universe is to find someone who is like in a fucked up situation and needs miraculous help to fix it.
It doesn't
And
help.
then
Also, in the first Spider-Verse, they completely misused Captain Universe, and it was just he was reduced to nothing.
well, in this, it's just the whole like lore and mythology of the Enigma Force is totally inaccurate. And then I guess Miles resolves with the cosmic entity off panel, so that we can get a big
I guess
reveal.
he uses with it Dragon Ball Z style, and he gets 30 minutes. And
Yeah,
thing.
I'm not so annoyed that they got the Enigma Force wrong because I personally don't care about the Enigma Force. I'm more annoyed that this is the Deus Ex Machina. It didn't work last time, but it
No
works this time because Ooh.
reasons.
Because Miles, an important character, has it now. But the like slight irony, further frustration, is that Captain Universe was created by Steve Ditko, the creator of Spider-Man.
Do you find it weird that
Oh, I didn't know that.
with the popularity of I just thought of this, with the popularity of Miles, they could take this concept even further and do alternate versions of also Miles instead of just Peter every time, and it's still just Peter every time.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that like kind of breaks if you think about Spider-Verse and the multiverse too hard, is when you have legacy characters, it's like, and you can look at other characters in other universes where DC, it's like you're going to find a lot of alternate Hal Jordans. And while it's Kyle, maybe you'll find some alternate Kyles. When all four of them are there, like, do you go to an alternate Earth and there's alternate versions of all four of the Lanterns? And it's just as likely that, the spider bit Joe Schmo or Flash Thompson. And they mix in some of those, but you just can't think too hard about that. And
or it's Superman with the Green Lantern ring.
that's just, honestly, that's like, I love the idea of the multiverse just in like superhero fiction, but when you think about it too hard and from like the perspective, from like the idea of like kind of the point of superheroes, it kind of breaks the idea of the superhero. Because if Peter Park, a lot of the Marvel heroes are different because they get in accidents and bullshit, and so by chance maybe those accidents happen on every Earth. But like, take Batman for example. The idea, well, he's a bad example as well.
It's a terrible example.
Because he also parents get shot and everything like that. But like, take a superhero, which I'm not going to give an example because all my examples suck so far, but a superhero who just becomes a superhero because he wants to. He just, straps up the boots and is like, I'm going to defend people. If he
Wait,
does that,
I want to stop you again. Do you mean to say that people just become heroes that doesn't have to be tied into some sort of long-standing legacy godlike thing?
yeah, that's my point. But if you have
Yeah,
a
that's
hero,
great.
you have a hero who's not like predestined to do that and has some like legacy and everything like that, and they exist on every possible Earth, it crumbles that initial purpose. And
Right.
that initial purpose, I feel, is core to a lot of superheroes and just the superhero concept in general. Even if there's an accident, they become an actual hero because they have heroic qualities and everything like that. And so that's where like the whole, I don't know, I'm not really gestating the thought correctly, but the multiverse a lot of times just distracts the idea. And that's why actually like the very original like two Earth system from DC works a lot better when you have the heroes in different Earths way more differentiated rather than 50 versions of Peter Parker.
Hey, why isn't there Batman in this story? No, like really, why didn't they just do like a spider version of Batman? That seems so
Yeah,
obvious.
they could. That has to have
God.
been done at some point in like
Well,
a
we
while.
kind of did that. That's kind of what Batman Inc. was.
Um,
It was
but
Batman, it was a Batman for every country.
Yeah, but no, he's saying reverse, like a
Yeah, I know, but
um. And so the game guy, the game reverse guy, he snuck along with Ben Riley and Otto, and Ben getting eaten was part of the plan because the fact that he's died so many times, he's effectively food poisoning. And strategically, he has him getting killed and eaten has poisoned and made crazy the sciency inheritor. And Otto's going to resurrect him again.
It's this is the first time they mentioned that when they eat a spider totem, they get all its memories. They
Yep.
invented that for the fifth issue to get them out of this corner they wrote themselves into.
Yep.
It is so lazy and it is so obvious.
And
Anyway,
then Miles, Captain Universe shows up and fights. And then the girls show up. And speaking of things thrown in the fifth issue, it turns out Annie Mae is the pattern maker, which is our fourth
what?
major totem avatar. And she'll at some point off panel after this story remake the web. And then the Spider Girls have ugly armor all of a sudden, which they just like snap their fingers and they're wearing
Power Rangers all of a sudden. That's what it was.
which makes them stronger. The armor looks really stupid.
It looked
It's
terrible.
awful.
Has there ever been a
So
case
bad.
of good armor in superhero comics?
As
Planet
a
Don't
Hulk.
say Iron Man.
Planet Hulk.
Planet Hulk's a good one.
Yeah,
But
that's not
still,
good armor though.
it's still not enough. But then Gwen and Pete show up in a big splash panel with all kinds of characters, and Peter Parker looks really stupid right now.
He looks terrible.
Oh my God! Wait, that is 616 Peter Parker. What the fuck?
Yep. It says 616 on it.
He somehow his mask is fucked up, and so he's like wearing a bandana sort of, and he has like belts and pockets and everything.
Okay, but see, like, he doesn't have that in like when he first comes through the
No,
portal.
it's true. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Appears on him on the next page.
And
Is that Aunt May
also,
behind him? No,
It
this
is.
is more important than what
And
I'm
Aunt
saying.
May.
That's Spider May.
It
There's
is.
also a
Man.
Spider Pop from the PS4 game.
he's from the PS4 game.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a reference in the PS4 game.
Okay. And Miles,
MCU Spider-Man's there.
is he actually?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Andrew Garfield Spider-Man's also there.
Oh, yes, he is.
they're not there. It's like slight alternate versions of those alternate versions. The MCU characters will never be in a comic book.
No, I think that
Except for
definitely
those
is actually
prologue
Tom
books they
Holland.
do.
I think it's
Well,
literally
besides
Tom Holland.
besides the actual like MCU comics. And so Miles says something. He's like, Gwen, you're alive. I thought you were dead. And he says Ghost Spider. And Gwen is like, hey, I kind of like that.
And then they give her the title card change to Ghost Spider. Like, it's terrible.
It's really awkward because I guess they originated that name in one of the dumb like kids cartoons for some reason, and they wanted to mirror that, but she's still
Imagine if in the same way that's how Miles just becomes Kid Arachnid in a comic book.
It's so weird because the name of her book is Ghost Spider, but I'm certain she's still called Spider Woman within the book. It's very strange. And the big moment for Miles, this is supposed to be badass. He uses the Enigma Force and Venom Strike at the same time.
Nobody cares.
So much power.
Nobody cares.
This was such like a fanboy like fuckery panel where it's like, look at this feat.
It read like fan fiction, and then Miles picks up a giant sword.
No, but here's the thing though, like what fanboy is gonna lose his mind over this moment when earlier in the same issue they got the Enigma Force wrong? Like the Miles fans not gonna like this because the story sucks, and the Enigma Force fans, all 5 of you, aren't gonna like it because it's also wrong. So who cares?
It's the people who will do a respect thread on Reddit in 3 years and take this panel out of context. That's who cares.
I hate
People who make
I,
Comic Vine countdowns.
I hate how accurate that is. All
Um,
right.
and Pete, one of my other favorite moments, Pete says, "You missed the beginning of an event and you're totally lost. I feel like a third wheel."
I mean, I've heard
And
the whole event and I feel lost, but hey,
I mean, no, but it's kind of true. Like
yeah.
the entire time they're talking about, we need Pete, and then he shows up and they just shit on him. They're like, dude, fuck you.
yeah, because he has no idea what's going on. And Otto has some plan. And again, Miles just does. So he did Enigma Force plus Venom Strike. That's a big feat. And then he gets another big feat where he throws a giant sword that kills, I guess, kills Solace, and then blasts the shit out of the others. And somehow, like off panel, like they don't fully set this up, and then it just happens between panels. Miles blasting them, I guess, actually kills them, but they were transferred quickly into the clone tubes by Otto. And it turns out that Solace was just crazy and an abusive dad and manipulated his kids like DNA and psychology through cloning to make them crazy assholes too. And so there's nothing, I guess, like nothing super like inherent about inheritors that makes them these crazy spider hunting killers. But also there is. But what happens here is they're cloned into baby bodies, so the age acceleration part of the equation is taken out, and their instincts and their memories are reset. And this goes back to the whole like stuck on a radiation planet thing. Like the ethics of this, it's basically exactly the same as killing them. I mean, when you think of murder and the dissolution of a life, you're thinking about things like consciousness and the like ambiguous concept, however you want to see it, of like a soul and things like that. But if you entirely wipe someone's memory and revert them to a baby, you effectively killed that individual. You've just replaced them now with effectively a new individual. And so the ethics don't really check out. And it's pretty stupid.
It's just dumb.
Okay, but I want to add, him blasting them did not kill them. He blasted them, and then a bunch of spider people just went and annihilated them.
And presumably just tore them limb from limb.
Yeah, but
Like they don't have weapons.
I love and hate this page of all the spider people because it's a bunch of random, like it has some of the characters we've seen, but also a bunch of random characters we didn't see. For one, we have Black Suit Spider-Man, Iron Spider Spider-Man. Then we also have the 6-armed clone spider from earlier in the Clone Saga that died in like I think his first or second appearance. And then my favorite of all is actually fighting one of the inheritors hand to hand is the bombastic Bagman.
Yes, he is there. I didn't even
It's
see
just an
him.
excuse to slam all the color palette swaps onto the page. I mean, there's like an anti-venom in the corner or something, which doesn't even make sense.
Also, Spider-Man 2099. I was wrong. He's in that corner. But what really, I don't want to say it bugs me, but like it kind of does that there's a Stan Lee Spider-Man who appears in the background of one of the pages. And like the other Spider-Men, they're all just kind of the red mask with eyes, like there's no detail, and then there's just Stan Lee's face. And like I see what they're going for, but I don't know if I appreciate it as much as they intended people to.
I prefer the 90s animated series where Spider-Man comes into our world and like swings around the city with Stan Lee instead.
Vince, the anti-venom one, isn't that the Peter Fenderson costume?
Yeah, I think it might be. I don't know. I just saw white and black. I guess the spider's slightly different on each of those. And And so then it becomes instantly cringy because Spider-Man, an Aunt May with spider powers, adopts like these sick babies, and she's gonna go raise them with Uncle Ben and her version of Peter Parker. And then everyone splits off their separate ways. Gwen can still traverse the multiverse somehow. She's like the only one.
She's like the only one.
And I don't know how much they actually use that in her series. I guess it's an excuse so that if they want to do a crossover with Miles, they can do that.
Well, the way they end this, I'm sure she'll be the catalyst.
And Annie May goes off to make a new web, and we get a quick tease as someone's like, okay, you're now the pattern maker. We assume the Scion is still Benji, and we assume that Silk is still the bride. So there was no other in this story. Where's the other? And Peter Parker from MC2 universe pops out of the grave. And
cool. Can't wait for MC2 to come back.
yeah, but now MC2 has two totems on, or whatever, avatars on that.
Three.
Moderately important now.
MC2
No,
has
two.
4 now. He has that Peter Parker, Mayday, Benji, and Uncle Ben Spider from the
Yeah.
Oh,
vault.
right.
No, yeah, the totems. I meant to say it has two of the avatars, two of the four avatars.
Oh, yes.
And then we get a panel. Everyone's gone, so we get a panel with the 616 squad. And count them up. There are 9 people with spider powers on Earth 616.
This is terrible.
And that is 8 too many.
It is 8 too many.
Wait, why 2099 there? Is 2099 on 616 right now?
Yes, it's just in the future.
Why?
No. Wrong. That's not right.
But that's the thing. I don't know. I assume he must have gone back to 2099 in the final issue of his series, because I don't think he's made appearance. I mean, not that this rules it out, but I don't think he's made appearances since then besides this. And obviously, I mean, based on that,
wait, 9 too many. So you get rid of
8 too many.
8 too many of what? 9, right?
Yeah.
So you get rid of Jessica Drew, even though she doesn't really connect to anything.
Oh no, yeah, she doesn't count.
So it's like 7 too many.
Yeah, it's and it's 7 out of 8 because she doesn't have spider powers. She shouldn't even be here in the first place.
I had to pick like regular Peter, Miles. And I'm not counting Jessica because she shouldn't really count, and then Kane. Keep those 3, and I still feel like that's too much.
Excuse me. The boy's right here.
Kane's better.
No,
That's
he's not.
The real Ben
Kane's
is dead to
edgier.
me after what I just read. He died and stayed dead to me.
Yeah, this is not Ben.
And so, well, also wait, Otto's in this panel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And
I don't count him either because he's a villain.
yeah, but he has spider powers and is in a spider costume.
No.
And so this issue ends with Pete and Miles are cool with Otto, and we get a reference. We get a reference, no footnote, to Red Goblin and what Otto did in that arc, saving Aunt May. And Miles is just cool with him just because they went through this story, I guess.
Yeah.
And the setup is, so we get one panel where Norman has a piece of the web, and I don't know if that's teased for something that happens in Otto's book or a fucking third Spider-Verse story.
I really hope it's in Otto's book. 1, because I guess that's almost interesting. Spider Otto versus Spider Norman, and 2, more importantly, I don't need to read it. So
And at the end of
this Norman is kind of Doc Ock's he's the reason why he's here and knows all this stuff. So
yeah.
And then the issue ends with a little ad Miles, Otto, and Gwen all have new #1s coming out of this. And Otto, Superior Spider-Man is written by Christos Gage, the writer of this, and contributed a lot to Superior Spider-Man. The Miles Morales book, which I don't, what are they calling it? Is it called Miles Morales Spider-Man?
It's called Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yeah.
See, I'd rather that be called the Spectacular Spider-Man.
That's by Saladin Ahmed, and I've heard mixed things about it. I think people complain that he used Captain America way out of character, but
There was the slight thing of Rhino being in his book and then also being it in
yeah.
the same
I read the first issue and I liked how he used Rhino, in fact. And the new Gwen series, I really haven't heard much about it. I think these books are already up to like issue like 5 or 6.
Yeah. I think
it's great.
5 for Miles, I think, came out 2 weeks ago.
I think it's great, and by great I mean terrible, that the Gwen book is called Spider-Gwen: Ghost Spider.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Again,
No,
I don't think she's called Ghost Spider.
It's because people who actually like Spider-Gwen are too dumb to know that it's the same character if they put a new name on the front.
I like Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, and you're dumb.
Oh shit.
Are you gonna read? Are you ever gonna check out this new series, or are you jumping off?
No, I'm done. No,
All right.
I like this character, but not enough to read their new book.
No, the Latour Rodriguez thing was fun, but like Spider-Gwen is not that great. I just like her.
Yeah, I mean that's what they put together, a good 40 issues or something.
Yep, and you can read that, and some of it's really good, and some of it's okay, and that's really it.
All right, so final thoughts on Spider-Geddon.
It's bad.
Yeah, bad.
Honestly, it didn't like. I don't know. Like, I want to rush to say it's bad, but it didn't come off as like bad comics to me. It's just very boring, very circular, and
okay, listen, we have read much worse stuff on this show.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as that big. Like, it wasn't as bad as Clone Conspiracy, which I still might hold Clone Conspiracy as the worst thing we've read on this show. But
I agree.
We'll save that for the discussion of our Revelations 1 million episode.
Yes, yeah. But I don't know. I would rather read Planet of the Symbiotes again than this story. And do you guys remember what happens in Planet of the Symbiotes? I don't. I think at one point Venom sits on Peter Parker's couch, which is hilarious.
You're actually right.
They're chilling on this couch when the whole world is dying. But like,
yeah.
I mean, like I said, we'll get into that next episode because like this wasn't like fun. It was boring. It was just a lot of talking in a series that's supposed to be advertised as this action-packed thrill ride. Mm-hmm. It's not. The first one wasn't. It's a more diluted version of something that already wasn't good. So it's a sequel to it's a bad sequel to a bad comic already. Like,
and it's weird that it's diluted because it's also half as many issues.
Yeah. But
why does less stuff happen? Wait, half many issues.
Well, factor tie-ins.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I know what you meant. I'm just like it. There's nothing drawing me here to like. The other thing I feel like about it is like I feel like this should be like feel like a big thing, but because it's so one character centric, it can't feel like a Marvel Universe event where there's actually high stakes for this, or like a Crisis on Infinite Earths. There's nothing that holding that there because it's its own self-contained thing.
At the end of this story, there are really 2 major changes. 3 if you count Superior Spider-Man, but I'm not going to. Spider-Man spreading himself across the universe is probably going to go nowhere, and Spider-Man Noir died.
Which probably won't go anywhere because...
won't go anywhere.
And then, like, MC2, Peter coming back.
Right.
Maybe down the line. What I fear is we're going to get one of these events, like, every 2 years.
Spider-Verse events? Probably.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably going to be a sequel to the video game. So
Well, there's definitely gonna be a sequel to the movie, and when there's a sequel to the movie, they're gonna have a tie-in book for that as well.
Yeah,
Spider-Verse is become
time is a flat circle. Spider-Verse exists forever.
they make a time as a flat circle reference in the story.
In the footnote.
Yeah, which is pretty awful. All right, that's it for Spider-Geddon.
Spider-Geddon.
Tune in next episode, and we're gonna cry.
I won't.